Hey, what's up, you guys? I want to make a video on topics I thought were cool. So this is, just starting off. I want to make a video on, I guess, Gerudo Link. I think he'd be a pretty cool addition overall. I just got done playing Tears of the Kingdom, or not even 100%ing it or anything. Just got done playing through, and I think I'm finished playing it. Didn't get tired of it or anything, but it was a great game. Just got done, and throughout the entire time of me playing, I think the sand section of the game, the Gerudo, Gerudo Valley part, I think that's been pretty much my favorite parts of these games, both Breath of the Wild too. So I thought it would be really cool if we got to see a Gerudo Link coming up in the next Zelda game, and God knows when that might be. Probably like, I don't know. I'm calling 6 years. No, okay, probably 4 years to our next Zelda game. You could probably see to the date when I'm right, or if I'm right, but I think it'd be really cool. Probably seeing a Link, actual Gerudo Link, not the one with the, Gerudo clothes on, either one. But one with, like, red hair. He was raised under the Gerudo, and he's of course the only male there. It'd be really, I think, when we're talking about Gerudos, we obviously see only Ganon, and it would be really cool to see another male, another King Gerudo, because we only see Ganon throughout the entirety of the series. Hell, even as a villain, and I think it would be cool to see that Link and see the reverse of it. So, like, if we even talk about like the general history of Hyrule, there's those theories that float around, like Groose is the progenitor of all Gerudos. From Skyward Sword. And now that I think about it, you could go either route, whether you want to go with like the Tears of the Kingdom is like spoilers kind of for Tears of the Kingdom, whether you want to go with Tears of the Kingdom is a reboot theory, or whether you want to go that Tears of the Kingdom is so far into the future that it doesn't even really, anything beforehand doesn't even really matter. Whichever one you want to do, I still feel like this would be cool. This would be a dope addition to the series. First off, I think when we're talking about Gerudos, we should probably address the fact that, in my personal opinion, they're known for two things: sand and magic, and being in that sandy area, and also the fact that they're all girls, but being in the area where Link could be using magic not from a container. How amazing of a concept could that be? Where you could, it could function, I think, maybe like the Sheikah Slate, or like the arm in this game. But I think like going around and finding scrolls and stuff, and finding the magical aspects of each and every single item, or any like plethora of things where it's like, oh, this cool sword I have, I can turn into a magical item, or I've just learned a basic magical spell like Fireball. I fanboy over stuff like that, and that to me will be the coolest addition. A general history, if we just want to run over the general history of, just a quick little refresher, Hero of the Skies goes, free Zelda, not even free Zelda, but goes throughout time, and is, Heroes of the Skies is my favorite Link, that and the Hero of Twilight, but goes around, free Zelda, fights Ganon, or fights, that's Twilight, but fights Demise. Demise curses the land, and he curses the bloodline of Link and Zelda. However, it never said in that, now correct me if I'm wrong, but it never said in that Link had to be Hylian every single time. Now, Zelda, I believe, has to be Hylian because the Princess Zelda, it has to be, right? But how much of a mind-blowing feature would it be if we focused these games in on like arcs, rather than like the singular objective of like Breath of the Wild, or even I would say singular objective of Tears of the Kingdom, although they do focus on not having the game so heavy and down pat on one subject. How cool would it be if you had something like Link start off in, of course, Gerudo Valley, and then him just work his way up eventually to meeting Zelda. And that will be where you could do so much with that. Whether you want to do a love-hate relationship off the start and people think Link is going to just be another evil Gerudo king, just like Ganon might be, or you could just do love at first sight even if you wanted to, or you could do they're just friends. I mean, I don't know if it's ever mentioned if Zelda and Link ever do get together, but you could just do they're just friends. And having that aspect to it all would be so amazing. It's so awesome. I think the part that I specifically do want to focus on, rather than the magic and everything like that, I do think the different, how do I say, the different aspect of this Link, where, for instance, this Link wouldn't have the Hylian shield. He just wouldn't, because that is something I believe in the series is only focused on Hylian knights, and I think just giving him the shield, unless Zelda wanted to knight him, because it's something he did, and now he's like kind of like what the Queen does like right now, where she'll still knight people, or I guess king, but where they'll still knight people, and every so often it's like, oh, you're knighted, like the dude who plays Professor Xavier in some of the original X-Men movies, I believe he's a Sir, and Elton John is also a Sir, so it's like he could kind of do like you're a Hylian knight, but at the same time you're not. I think it would be cooler if he just wasn't a knight of Hylia at all, but it would be, I think, way more advanced, or it would advance the series along, because it would just focus on the fact that Link, no matter what, Link doesn't even need to be a Hylian to go back and still beat off the curse of demise, if we still want to even focus on that. Some people don't even like that type of storytelling. I love the curse, because no matter what throughout history, it still applies. And inversely, if we have a Gerudo hero, we could have a Hylian villain. And now, of course, like, if you wanted to go like the Final Fantasy route with this, or like just the JRPG route, where it's like the evil king, but then it's flipped and it's like it's the Chancellor who's really evil, you could do that, where it's like the king of Hyrule seems to be like evil, or it's obviously the Chancellor, kind of like a Kefka type situation, kind of. I would really prefer it if we had a new villain in the series other than Ganon. I mean, we have we have maybe three like big villains in Zelda. Three big ones are the main ones, where they're like final bosses, and that's and of course somebody's gonna point out like, what about this game? But like, okay, that game doesn't matter. Maybe do, but I say so. We have Ganon, of course, Ganon/Ganondorf, Vati, and then Majora from Majora's Mask. And even then, I would want somebody new, but I would still just kind of want them to bring back Demise in some sort of way or form, just that it shows, or at least the malice, because in my personal opinion, the malice from Demise, that is the same thing as the malice that you see popping off from Ganon in Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and even in Skyward Sword, when Link goes around, he picks up those little like orbs. I think they're called malice. They might be called something else, but I believe they're called malice. Those orbs that he's picking up, that would be dope to see a Chancellor, like a regular Hyrule bloke, just regular dude, just going around, just absolutely wrecking shop. Seeing that versus Link, where he had to, the whole game is focused on Link trying to train his power, versus this dude, I don't know if we give him any type of Hyrulean name. I don't really know Hyrulean names that well, but a Chancellor who comes across, and let's say, and this is real basic, but you could have Link, the theme focusing on Link gaining power as in training, and the guy gaining power as in stealing it. So you're going around learning magic, and he's going around taking magic from other people, and of course the Gerudos are included in there. And even having slight references to Vati would be cool, because I know Vati was another magic user, and I feel like Vati doesn't get enough attention. Having those slight references to Vati to me would tie things together way more than they already are. I know that the team that does work on Zelda, obviously every so often they want to do something new, and I appreciate that. I love that. If they wanted to do another Tears of the Kingdom type game, that would be, of course, like, nobody's gonna hate that. Well, some people, okay, some people will hate that, but for the most part, I'm not gonna hate that. I would be fine with that. Would want them to switch it up just a tad bit though, different map and stuff. And I think focusing on having that Link traverse a new map where it's thousands and thousands of years, like the Breath of Wild happened years and years ago. The Hero of the Wilds is something where people just refer to, and having it so far in the future that the map is changed just because of erosion, and the sky islands we see in Tears of the Kingdom have dropped down, causing meteors, what has become of the Beneath, stuff like that would really build the series up to, I think, new heights. Having a Link just be focused on where he has the red hair, and we can return to the different haired Link. I believe in Link to the Past he has pink hair, so returning to that different hair color is cool. I love in Tears of the Kingdom Breath of the Wild the gear system. Link in different clothes, I don't know what took them so long to get to it, but that is such a great idea, as far as just not like a different colored tunic, not like red but blue or anything, not like even the armor, I think the gold armor in Twilight Princess, yeah, even that stuff I wouldn't really focus too much on, but stuff like that is such a great addition to those games. I'd honestly have these games be more story focused. Having Zelda either traveling to the land of the Gerudo. Now, I'm all for this cool Zelda, like more one where she's more of an adventurer, but I like the one from Wind Waker too, where even that one is way more outgoing, and she doesn't hate Link at first either. Those types of Zelda character arcs are my favorite, but having a dying Hyrulean king and Zelda's already a bit more mature traveling around, and Link has to break her out of her case, that might sound a little too anime, but I would really like that. I think that would be some of the leading Nintendo to have some of the best writing if you just let them have fun with it. It seemed like with Breath of the Wild, as far as the memories, everybody wanted more of that, or at least I did. And having those memories, they were having fun with that. They were having so much fun with that, and building out Zelda's character. Like, although people were like, "Oh, we want more dungeons, we want more this," and of course, Gerudo Link would have dungeons. Gerudo Link, there would be so much that you would have to focus on in this game. And I think Nintendo could get it done as far as getting a new Link across and a new type of Link. I don't want like Link to have a lot of personality, but I know in the Japanese version of Tears of the Kingdom, the journal entries that Link has, they're from his perspective. So you get to see the personality that he has, and having that in the next game, slam dunk. They should totally do that. Another thing I want to even touch on with Gerudo Link was the titles. So like all the Links have titles. The Hero of Twilight from Twilight Princess, the Hero of Skies from Skyward Sword, and the Hero of the Wilds from Breath of the Wild. I think the Hero of Winds from Wind Waker. I could go over them, but there's no need. All of them have heroes. I think the coolest variant, at least for a Gerudo Link, maybe this is super basic. If the game is focused around weather, or if the game is focused around, it doesn't even need to be. There could be some made up relic. Nintendo could just make up a relic. The Hero of Fire or the Hero of Thunder would be the coolest name. Hero of the Weather, I thought would also be cool, but like, it doesn't. There could be cooler. And having it focus on those aspects, just where do we want Link to end up, and let's work our way backwards. Like, the ending of Tears of the Kingdom was amazing. It was great. The boss battle, everything about it. to the set pieces. I'm a big set piece fan. If you give off a good set piece like Skyward Sword's ending, where you're just fighting demise, just sword in hand, mano, you're fighting on top of clouds, it seems, and you're just, and especially with the Wiimote, I like just going back and forth with them. That was the coolest. In my personal opinion, if we're talking boss fights in the Zelda franchise, that's like top 3. That's top 3. You're going, if we have the Chancellor character be some magic slinging, and of course these games have to be kind of easy, kids play them, but if we have the Chancellor be some magic slinging, just despicable character, some people want the redeemable character, or the villain of just where his motives are understanding, and that would be a great switch up. I think the only time we really got that was Ganondorf in Wind Waker, when he said that I was just doing this because he was raised in an environment where they didn't have that much food, they didn't have that much water, so he just wanted to stand in the sun the same way the Hylians did. Completely. That type of route is cool, and that type of villain is 8 times out of 10 amazing, where you can really understand their motives. But me personally, I know Ganon is kind of evil just to be evil. I want an evil, I'm talking just despicable villain. I'm talking he goes around and he taking candies from kids is just, that's just his normal day. That's just, he wakes up, he drinks water, that's his waking up and drinking water. Like, that's his, he doesn't brush his teeth. Like, he just gets up and he just instantly just burns somebody just because he wants to. Seeing Hyrule just in a state of kind of semi-corruption, and seeing the Chancellor try to steal money, steal from the princess, like, oh, he's trying to become king over the princess. Amazing. That could be done so well if the Nintendo team's allowed to have fun with it. Another type of villain I really like, if we don't want to go the Chancellor route, that's fine, but another type of villain I really like would be a villain that you could, of course, you could do the shonen route with this, but the villain who could serve as a rival to Link. Having Link's heroism questioned, and you could do both, honestly. Having Link's heroism questioned within the story could serve so many just lessons up and so many morals up. I think having, not necessarily a Dark Link, but something where it's like a Groose type figure, but way more serious, of course. All right. Anyway, sorry, I was rambling on there. I gotta just got a call, but yeah. What else more do I gotta say? The Thunder and Fire relics. You could do the relics of Thunder. You could do the relics of Fire. Not Lightning, because Lightning and Thunder are kind of the same thing. But you could do, I guess, Wind. But then you're going to the Sages again, right? And then that's another thing. I'm happy with all the other Sages. The Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom focus on something really cool, really awesome. But having this type of Pokemon time limits are iffy, but just hear me out. Pokemon time limit, Pokemon esque rival, where you're racing your rival to try to get these relics, and of course it's like the game devs can only do so much, but different outcomes based on which relics you get before him. And when you fight him, for instance, you could do a run where he gets all the relics and you have to fight him. The harder the boss fight is, so if he has none of the relics, the boss fight's super easy, really easy. But if he has some relics, it's, pretty hard. If he has all the relics, it's like fighting a god, which that could lead to so many dope outcomes of just, oh, if he has this relic, he can do this. He has this relic, he can do this. He has this relic, he has one relic, he has 2 lives. He has 3 relics, he has 4 lives, or 3 lives. And on and on and on. having those type of interactions, I think, are important in the next Zelda game. It can build it to, like I said, just another height. It can be more than just like the Nintendo adventure puzzle game. I want Zelda to be almost like this, and the franchise overall, this encompassing thing. There's no need for Ganon in this game, but there is a need for a villain, and a villain that is just straight evil incarnate. Doesn't even feel bad for his actions. Doesn't even feel bad. Like, almost like Dio from JoJo, or Jack Horner, Cat in Boots. Like, something like that. Somebody just evil. I don't want Tai Lung from Kung Fu Panda. No, that one, sympathy. You feel sympathy. I want just absolute scum of the earth. So when you're fighting him, you feel that threat of, if this man's able to get away with the power, whether you want to think it's the Triforce, that's another thing. This could be the first Link that is not actually, I think the Breath of the Wild Link, this could be one of the Links that doesn't really worship or not really a fighter for Hylia, the goddess. The Gerudo don't worship Hylia, they worship another goddess. So seeing Link try to connect to Hylia, that could be really, really cool. That could be something where you could have Zelda come across and be like, oh, you know, she's obviously not Hylia incarnate, but Hylia blood, I guess. Run across Link and not necessarily try to convert him or anything, but talk about it, and Link could, you know, just go to you know, his regular reaction. But having Link and talking about the faith in Hyrule, or talking about the different, of course, you know, who doesn't want a political Zelda game? Like, that's not what I'm talking about, but I do want more world building. I want more overall Zelda. I'm a big Zelda fan, love it to death, but I want more in-depth things. The combat is already fine. Like, you got Link fight, the Lionel fights are great, mini boss fights amazing, the combat's already nice. I do want it to be a little bit more in depth. Of course, who doesn't want the open world Devil May Cry perfect mix of every video game with the perfect franchise just as the cherry on top? Who doesn't want that? But, you know, I struggle asking. I don't want to ask for too much, but just a game with Gerudo Link will be the coolest thing for me. You could do so much for it. Him not having a shield, him just focusing, him using magic in the other hand. If you want to use a shield magic, that would be awesome. A mana bar. Me personally, you shouldn't even need a mana bar. You could just have a stamina bar and a mana bar. Maybe that could be something cool. And this mana bar recharges. I don't think we should have. I think it was Skyward Sword where you had a bar where you're supposed to drink it. And I don't, like I said, no containers, no like, and by containers I mean, like, no, I want pure hands, pure magical abilities. Twin Rova was able to use magic, it seemed like, just basic, you know, pew pew out of her hands. That, we need more of that. We need more of that. To me, it's the rule of cool. It's just that simple. I do want the Gerudos hating Link. I think that would be like the dichotomy of Ganon coming and the Gerudos liking Ganon because of what he stood for. And it seems like they liked him too in Breath of the Wild, at least enough to follow him. And growing to dislike him in Breath of the Wild, saying he's an evil king, stuff like that. Growing to have a distaste for him. I mean, Tears of the Kingdom. And then you have Link starting off where the Gerudos hate him initially because of what Ganon has done. The Gerudos hate him because the last man was an evil king. And then after that, having Link be loved by his people and having it be a tale of acceptance from his people. What more could you want? An evil villain from Hyrule, the biggest kingdom. Like, if there realistically was a war with any of the kingdoms, like, Hyrule's winning. That's one thing where I think it was not A Link to the Past, it was the other one, the painting one, where the dude with the purple helmet, reverse Hyrule, Reverse Hyrule is like the only thing I could think where it could take on Hyrule, maybe just because it's reverse. But like even then, there's no kingdom that's really gonna be able to do what, like what is it, the kingdom in Majora's Mask? Like that's not gonna really take on. Nothing's beating Hyrule. So being able to fracture Hyrule with the Chancellor, again, that's another thing that we could get and we could focus on. Story based. I don't want singular objectives. I want it to be focused singularly on the story, as far as there's arcs basically. As far as the first arc, you have, oh, this is Link leaving Gerudo Valley arc, right? Just a tutorial. Then Link getting Link's journey to Hyrule. And I want the journey to be long. I'm a avid JRPG fan. If a JRPG isn't 80 hours or above, that's short in my opinion. I love myself a long game. I want the road to Hyrule to feel long. So when you get there, it feels like you just accomplished something just by getting there in the first place. Like, make it a journey. Make it when you're over there trying to fight the Chancellor, there's actual damage being done. I love some of the memories for Breath of the Wild where you see the Guardians running around and they're just shooting buildings, or the destruction make me feel like there's stakes. With Zelda, I never feel like the stakes are really there for me, especially in like the Fallen Timeline. Again, the titles are just something extra. Hero of Fire, that will be my personal name for him, because desert, hot, heat. How could you go wrong with that? But anyway, yeah, that's my video on the potential of Gerudo Link. Just something I thought would be cool for him is all. Something I thought would be really dope. Tomorrow I got a video of Persona 6 coming out. Or maybe I might change my mind. But yeah, anyway, this is just stuff that I like. You guys keep carrying on. Keep doing what you're doing. And yeah.